All right, hey, hi, welcome back. Let's talk about expectations. I was trying to think about like a title for this podcast chat, and I was thinking something more salacious, but let's just talk about expectations. So here's what I've experienced with expectations. And it took me decades to figure this out for myself. And it's tricky, right? Because you would think, well, I want to have high expectations, so aim for the stars and settle for the moon or whatever it is. And I get that. If you want to have set high goals or have expectations of performance, things like that. But the problem is that I personally couldn't manage the disappointment and when I was training, and whenever I had a cue in my hand, expectations were a killer for me. It just didn't work for me. If I was training, I had expectations that I should be hitting these certain drills, or I should be hitting these certain shots, or running a certain amount of ghost balls, or racks, or anything like that. And it's like, and what it is you lose being present. And for me, I'll just speak for myself. For me, I lost being present. For me, it caused me to lose my joy. And for me, it made it so that it made it slower for me to learn pool. Because I would hit a shot and be like, do I have it figured out yet? Is it good yet? Am I good? Am I never gonna miss this again? And I'm exaggerating, but not really. And I worked that cycle of expectation and disappointment, or whatever you want to say, and not being able to handle it very well for decades, like I said. And I still had results. I still got over 700. I still won tournaments. I still won gambling matches. But I lost a lot. I lost out of a lot of tournaments. I melted down a lot. I melted down in gambling matches. I had a lot of problems. I had problems outside of the game, where it was causing me to be unhappy in my life and disappointed and frustrated and all those things. So that's why I quit several times. But it was because I had this expectation that I was supposed to be a better player because I had this high range, right? And so let's just talk about expectations. Where can it come from? It can come from variance, okay? There's something with Fargo. I haven't researched this, but I've been told this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but let's just say it's between 50 to 75 lower than your current rating and 50 to 75 high. That's your performance range. And it makes sense, rule of thirds. Irene and I made a video on the rule of thirds, and it's a third of the time you're hot garbage, a third of the time you're good, average, and a third of the time you're King Kong. And so it makes sense that we can get into our brain and think that I just want to be King Kong all the time. And the problem with that, and that becomes your expectation, like I'm going to be King Kong all the time. And then we make comments like, if I was just consistent, if I was just consistently played at my absolute peak and I was King Kong mode all the time, then I would be a higher rated player and everything would be right and I wouldn't be upset and I wouldn't, everything would be right in the world. Well, it took me decades to learn that that's a fallacy and that that's not effective and that I can't work under that system. So for me personally, it didn't work. And so what happened was I finally realized, and I had a breaking point and I quit. And then when I came back, I said, okay, and now I'm just playing for the interest of learning the game and trying to be a student of the game. And I don't even know if I'm ever gonna play a set again for competition or money or tournament or whatever. And now it's 5 years ago, I've already said this, blah, 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 okay. And what happened was through that process, expectation got kind of erased, okay? So then as a result of releasing myself from expectation and just sort of finding out what happens every time I shoot a shot, I'm just gonna find out. Well, my performance went up. My practice got more effective. I got more calm. All the things that I'm trying to teach you guys happened for me. And I'm not a perfect player and I still make mistakes and I've got flaws in my game and I'm not, I'm mentally strong, but I'm not as mentally strong as I could possibly be. I still have room to improve in those areas. So I still have improvement in like shot selection, all the things, biomechanics, physics, geometry, all the knowledge, everything, the moving game and different games. I need work in all those things, and it's fine because I enjoy the work and I want to work, and I have no expectation of where it's going to lead or what it'll lead to. I have feelings, right? I have a sense of it. I have experience to know that when I stay present and I practice, I can see the result of better performance, right? So that doesn't mean that that's an expectation. That just means it's more of like a sense, right? So it's like, for me, this is what happened for me. When I dropped my expectations and started learning the game and playing the game, it went from I expect something to I sense that this is possible. And then I find out with everybody else, right? As soon as I start hitting balls and all that. So I guess that's one thing I'd say is think about expectation and getting rid of expectation as a possibility to stay more present so you can learn when you're playing better, stay more calm, be less frustrated, learn on every single shot you stroke and hit, and you're not just in this monotony and just waiting for, if I just do enough of these certain drills or things, then I expect that I'll be playing great and then I'll be this rating and then this will happen and I'll feel that way. It's like, no, I'd encourage you to not go down that path or unless that's working for you. If that's working for you, then keep doing it, right? But if it's not working for you and you're feeling frustrated like I was feeling frustrated, then I would say scrap it and start with becoming a student and dropping expectation, right? And as you become a student, you'll start getting a sense, because you'll start playing better, you'll start getting a sense that you're going to play well instead of an expectation. There's a huge difference between that, right? A sense is a curious thing. Like, I'm just curious. I sense that something's going to happen, but I can handle with whatever happens because I have no expectation. My only expectation is that it could be any one of those third of my range. It could be high, it could be medium, or it could be the lowest part. And so I'm going to find out when I put my cue together, just like I always do. And so, yeah, that's it. So that is a way that I feel like we can kind of battle expectations if expectations are causing problems. Now, here's the other thing with expectation, all right? The trap that I see. If you're not practicing and training, or if you're training and practicing ineffectively, to have expectations around performance is a little bit nonsensical because you haven't done the things necessary to get what you're trying to hope for. And I'll speak for myself, okay? I was like in the low 700, 715, whatever. And I'm like, man, I just feel like I could be a 750. I just feel like it could be a 760, a 770. I just feel like, cause I could hit those ranges against players and they would tell me, man, you're playing really, really great. And so then I would create an expectation in my head and I'd be like, that's where I need to be. And it's so unfair because I can do that. And it's just so unfair. And then that's where I got into the expectation trap. And for me, what I'm saying is it was only when I got into reality and I accepted that I play the way I play, okay? There's some days where I could go closer to 800, high sevens, whatever. There's some days where I can play right where my rating is, and there's some days where I can play considerably lower, like in the 600s. And I had to accept all of those possibilities. And when I accepted those possibilities, I just kind of Popeyed, I am what I am. And I just said, okay, I accept that this is who I am. And I have to make a decision. I can either quit and say, I don't accept that I don't accept this, okay? I don't accept that I am this way with pool. And I don't like it. I don't want to be a 715. So much so that I'm done. And I've gotten to that point before where I've just looked at reality and said, you know what? I don't want to be a 715 anymore. I'd rather just go do something else in my life. I'm just stuck in this no man's land and all the stories I told myself and all the negative things. Because I wasn't interested in playing because I love the game. I was interested in a result, okay? I was interested in meeting some sort of expectation, like I'm saying. And so what I had to do was accept that I am what I am. And then I also had to accept another thing. The other thing is I had to accept that if I drop my expectations and I become 80% process focused and 20% results focused, I had to accept that I might play worse. I had to accept that. And I had to say, what if I drop down to 680 or 670 or 650? Sorry, Ami's coming in. I had to accept that. And I said to myself, okay, I accept that's a possible outcome. But I also said, I'm a gambler. I believe in myself. Let's do it. I got to crumple this up and start over because I believe that that's not going to be the outcome. I don't have an expectation of anything other than that's possible that I could go backwards. But it's also possible I could go forwards, I could go up, all those things. So I just found like acceptance, and then I worked towards gratitude for the game, like just being happy that I'm able to play and hit balls and I don't need to play the ego game. And what happened was it worked. I was able to play pool and improve and find joy. And I don't have frustration. I don't have anger. I don't have these things. And I've already gone through all that. And it's just, I'm just sharing with you that it's been, over 4 years probably now of no frustration, no anger, just whatever, no outbursts, no I'm quitting, no this isn't working, no slumps, whatever. It's because I just don't have any expectations. I just have acceptance for who I am and what I am, and I'm just going to follow along and see what happens. I can't control the outcome by wishing it was different. And so what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, I got lost my track a little bit. What I'm trying to say is that I realized, and just to put in like blunt terms, that I hadn't earned a 750, 760, 770 rating through the work and everything. I hadn't earned it. I only wanted it and wished for it. So I was in reality and I said, this doesn't make sense for me to have these expectations, have this anger because I haven't earned it. Okay, I might think that I've earned it, but I haven't. And it was a big moment for me to realize that I hadn't earned that. And once I realized I hadn't earned that, then I went about the path of joyfully trying to earn it and just curiously watching and seeing and finding out. Okay, and that's what I would encourage for you guys. If you're struggling, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're making statements like, I just wish I could be more consistent, I'm in a slump, I'm this, I'm that, some of the things I hear from students when they present to me, when they come in, like this is a journey that took me years, the last, like I said, 4 or 5 years, but it's worth going through and worth going down that path because it's kind of, it was silly for me to wish that I was better than I was and be frustrated because I wasn't, and to look back and realize I was not putting in the work to get there. I was putting in work, but not the work to get there. So right now I'm playing as good as I've ever played. I like the way I'm hitting them. Things are good. But I went to Derby last year and I realized I did not put in enough work and I got what I got, and I wasn't frustrated. I wasn't angry. I just was like, that was kind of a bummer. And then I was like, I have to go and make all these adjustments and do these things and try to improve my game. And so I came back and got embroiled in a bunch of stuff and got buried and I couldn't get to it and haven't been practicing. And I'm just like, well, it's going to do what it does. Meaning like I can't do anything other than what I'm doing. And so I have no frustration. I have no expectation. If I go to Derby this year, it'll be just like wide-eyed. Let's see what happens. And I'll just find out what's going to happen like everybody else. And if anything, I'll understand that I really can go with no expectations, and that's actually better for me. So I have a feeling that if I go with no expectations, I might actually do better than having a bunch of expectations on my shoulders that can distract me and make me feel, think about different things other than just playing and having fun and trying to hit every shot I can at the maximum, pureness that I can hit, whatever you want to say, best decision making, all that stuff. So I guess, just to recap, expectations they can be very harmful for people. And I would, like I said, switch expectations to more of training and seeing if you can earn through your training that feeling that something's going to happen. That's what I'm trying to say. If you train and you practice and you do things and you add skills and you are present and you are calm, see if you can do that for a couple days, a week, a couple weeks, and see if you can drop your expectations and just work on acceptance and gratitude, whatever. Not whatever, but those things. It's hard to do, but it's easy to say. And then see if when you go play, if you drop your acceptance down, if your expectation down, drop down your expectation and just raise your curiosity and see if you get a little feeling that says, I feel like I'm gonna play well. But the thing is if you never practice, if you never train, and then you're frustrated about, that's another thing, right? If you're never training and never practicing and never going through the learning process and you're just competing and playing leagues and tournaments and gambling and those things, it's very difficult. It's a very slow, clunky process to improve. And so to have expectations without doing any real serious work, that needs to be looked at too, and looked at honestly. If that's what I need to do, that's what I did honestly. I said, I think I'm working, I'm really not working enough, and I only get what I get for the work I put into it. And so I think that's what I'm trying to encourage too, is let's be honest with ourselves. Let's see how much work we're putting in. And if we're not putting in work, that's fine. If we don't have time, we don't desire, whatever, but then drop your expectations anyways. And then if you are putting in work, still drop your expectations and see if that helps you, and see if you're putting in work with your expectations dropped. See if you get a little bit more excited to play and a little less anticipatory anxiety when you're playing, and you're a little bit more let me at 'em kind of approach, and I want to test out this stuff, and I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. See if you can Black Eyed Peas that stuff. So, okay, that's all I got. Hope you're doing great, and thanks for supporting the channel. It's fun to watch it grow. It's growing really fast and strong, and everything's awesome. So thanks a lot. I'm glad I got to chat with you guys about this. Hopefully it was helpful, and hit me up in the comments if you have any ideas for other podcasts. Hit me up in the comments if you have ideas for other training you want to see. I'll just keep knocking stuff out for you guys. Okay, have a good weekend. Bye.